Welcome back to the show, everybody. We got a great one lined up for you this morning. 125 million XRP move by Ripple. I'm always fascinated by that, especially with the lawsuit that's happening. PayPal has a new partner for digital payments. We'll get into it. Fifth largest U.S. bank ready to roll out Bitcoin for its wealthiest clients. But JP Morgan says otherwise, and we're going to explain. XDC news is beyond massive, and you're going to like it if you're holding. Bombshell in SEC versus Ripple deposition. We got the updates for you. And the SEC has DeFi in its crosshairs. And we've talked about this a lot. We're going to talk about it again. And guess what? Price is the news of today. Yeah, we got 12% gains just overnight and almost 75% gains on the 7-day. And you won't believe it. People are talking to technical analysts are talking about $2 plus in our near-term future and $6 plus soon to follow. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Sorry about that. I missed the button. I'm sitting there trying to click the button, get it on there, and I missed it. All right. Before I get started, I got to shout out. I made a call yesterday. This really blows my mind. I realized that I have a YouTube channel on the internet and that the internet is worldwide. But I'm blown away when it touches me in my personal life. Yesterday, I was making a call to a company to pursue some issues and advancing some things that I was looking to do in my private life. And I had to be jockeyed around, as you do, through customer service to different departments and things like that. And I landed on a guy named Dennis. And shout out to Dennis from Fort Lauderdale. I give him my name. I ask him how he's doing it. I say, Dennis, how you doing today? And there's this long pause. And then he says, did you say your name's Brad Kimes? And I said, yes, it is. And he says, I listen to your show every day. Dennis, you blew my mind. He said his mind was blown because he was talking to me. He could recognize my voice, and he started talking about XRP and XDC, Cardano, and all this other stuff. And it was just really, really so cool to be touched like that and have that kind of a connection with somebody you don't even know. So shout out to Dennis in Fort Lauderdale. This morning, I think we're all happy what we're seeing, and we're going to keep a close eye on it. The cryptocurrency market cap is up over 7% this morning, and that is good news to me. 2.038 trillion in the market right now, and we're seeing the market respond in a positive manner, and so is XRP. It was up 12% just earlier, and like I said, we're going to talk about more of the price and what people are saying, so hang in there. $1.24 right now is where we're sitting. 109 is the low side of the XRP price range, and $1.25 is the upper side of the price range right now. Here we go. Let's get into it. 125.3 million XRP transferred by Ripple and major crypto exchanges. I'm always fascinated by this. You know, how much of this is going to actual utility? How much of this is going to just supply exchanges here, you know, just for people that are buying it outside of the U.S. that can't get a hold of it unless you're on Uphold if you're in the U.S. I'm just fascinated by it. I really am. This is, if I could say this right, I tell you, I would win a prize. STEETS, I don't know if that's right, but I think it is. This is STEETS, which is another white paper. They're proud to publish our white paper starting from today. Everyone in the XRP community will be able to also to claim their ELS setting the trust line towards the issuing address that they've provided there. So I wanted to share that. And it just reminds me of everything that's going on with them and Flare Networks, Flare Finance, and Songbird. And hopefully we'll have some really definitive information on everything that's happening in that project and all of those projects. So, all right, looking right here, light shines in the darkness. And he has showed us here that PayPal and FISERV partners, which you know how to say it, but I don't want it to be confused with something else out here because YouTube is very, very critical of certain words you use in this space. So partners that allow businesses to send payments, both companies allow crypto transactions for their customers. When we go into this, what I wanted to show you is basically they're coming together and they're to expand their digital payment options so companies can send money directly to their digital wallets. And they're going to do so basically in part, the company will first collaboration with a system that allows PayPal and Venmo to accept QR code payments in April. It's moving fast, ladies and gentlemen. And here we see institutional investors are dumping Bitcoin in favor of gold, they say. The Bitcoin flow picture continues to deteriorate and is pointing to continued retrenchment by institutional investors. I found this interesting because we go into this and JP Morgan analyst says, amid the Bitcoin touching 5-month lows at near 30,000, analysts suggested the largest investors are now dumping Bitcoin in favor of gold. In its Tuesday note, the clients that JP Morgan suggested that institutional investors are going back to gold, reversing a major bullish cryptocurrency market action that drove Bitcoin's price above 64,000 in mid-April. You know, I looked at this and I was thinking to myself, I was like, what? May 19th, what are we talking about here? You know, it's like, look how times have changed. This is JP Morgan. This is May 19th of 2021, right? May 19th. This is just a couple months ago. And they're saying, oh, everybody's running back to gold. I'm calling BS because first of all, we know JP Morgan's offering Bitcoin to its wealthiest clients. And we also know that the 5th largest U.S. bank, Wells Fargo, is ready to roll out Bitcoin. May, August. I know it's two different banks, but you know, the reality is JP Morgan is offering Bitcoin to their clients, and the price is going up on Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. Look at it. It's 47,000 plus, just dropped below, but you know where we're going here. So the reality is that poppycock. That sounded to me like if you look back a little bit at the older news in May, you're seeing what they call talking your book, right? They talk the product down that they want to offer or buy for themselves. That's how they do it. So looking right here, the 5th largest U.S. bank, Wells Fargo, is ready to roll out Bitcoin Fund for its rich clients. They're not trying to talk their book. They're just telling you, come and get it. Right? According to a filing with the SEC on Thursday, Wells Fargo has registered a passive Bitcoin fund for its clients. My, how times change. May, June, July, hello, August, right? I mean, wow. This gets bigger. XDC news. We covered this yesterday and how Andre Casterman had told everybody that XDC and Zenfin has now plugged into the Global Trade Finance Distribution Initiative, which is a $19 trillion market. And if it's on Yahoo, it must be real. Well, you know what? It is real, apparently. And that is exciting news. As an XDC holder myself, I couldn't be happier about that. And I'm ready to see the price start to reflect that fundamental news. Not financial advice, but looking right here, let's move and shift gears now and go into the latest information in the update with the court case. Lots of filings, lots of papers going on back and forth, and let's just get right to it here. So the bombshell in the deposition that paves the way to win on the fair notice defense says expert Jeremy Hogan, who is an expert. Shout out to you, Jeremy, for everything and the kind words. I am a huge fan of you, and I learned so much from you and everyone else out here in this community, and I'm very grateful for you. Looking right here, we know, and I'm going to move through this quickly so we just stay quickly because the price is the real conversation today, and we're about to get into it. So looking at this, just as a reminder, one of the things we know is that William Hinman had said in his deposition that that they had to stop selling and offering XRP in order to come into compliance, and that was in 2020. Right? By then, the SEC investigation really was already underway when the complaint was filed in December of 2020 and told them they had to stop selling XRP. So that was 2020, right? It does nothing for pre-2020 fair notice defense. And as the bombshell number 2 is that the Ripple Council asked William Hinman if the digital assets were not covered by the securities clearance form until 2018. The ex-SEC commissioner waffled, according to Mr. Hogan, and then answered no. The SEC did not consider digital asset securities for their ethics purposes until 2018. You never ask a question on cross that you don't already know the answer to. And that bodes very well for Ripple as fair notice defense for periods from 2013 to 2018, the lawyer Jeremy Hogan concluded. The fair notice defense is Ripple's favorite strategy for win against the SEC Ripple case has been dragging since the complaint was filed in 2020 of December. Mr. Hogan has recently analyzed both parties' strategies as they become clearer at the end of fact discovery. The SEC has warned the court that Ripple win on fair notice defense would nullify the Howey test, which is used for assessing the nature of an asset, whether it is a security or not. On the other hand, such a win could save the industry from the SEC, as Attorney Hogan previously explained. That is important to note because it really could make 2013 to 2018 a moot point for the judge and say, well, now I'm not going to look at anything going on until after 2018. And that could bring us to a quicker resolution than maybe we even realized. That would be amazing. Now, on the matter of Slack communications, James K. Filan had filed that Ripple, the SEC has filed a further reply in support of its motion to compel Ripple to search and produce Slack communications, which we all know is an application which employees will use inside of a company. And they have gotten many communications already from the people that they had targeted that they wanted them from. However, what I have to say here is that Jeremy Hogan, in full disclosure, says, I tend to agree with the SEC on this motion. I think they've shown enough to the judge to get some of the additional Slack custodians searched and produced. And the vendor mistake surely doesn't help Ripple because the vendor had made a mistake and apparently had deleted some communications, which makes it look bad for Ripple, right? And he says, P.S. I'm glad this ain't YouTube with a thumbs down button. Oh, boy, do I know that feeling, buddy. Anyway, then we change to the SEC where we talk about this, right? And this is coming away from the case and the focus of what the SEC is really, really focused on outside of this case. Broadly on crypto, we know 2018 was a huge moment for regulators to come in and really rein in the initial coin offerings known as ICOs. I have said many times and saying right again today that I believe that next moment for regulators, that next battleground for technology, innovation, and market regulators is DeFi, decentralized finance. And you know what? Gary Gensler has confirmed the notion himself too. Let's take a look really quickly here because this is something that's going to have to be dealt with. And I'm very, very interested to watch this to see exactly what takes place. Gary Gensler, chairman of the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, said that the agency could regulate decentralized finance projects, specifically DeFi projects that reward participants with valuable tokens or similar incentives could be regulated no matter how decentralized they say they are. He said in an interview that the Wall Street Journal on Wednesday, there's still a core group of folks that are not only writing the software like open source software, but they often have governance and fees. Said Gensler, there's some incentive structure for those promoters and sponsors in the middle of this. According to Gensler, the term DeFi is a bit of a misnomer because these platforms facilitate something that might be decentralized, and let's get that off of there, and that might be decentralized in some aspects, but highly centralized in other aspects. Some DeFi platforms can be compared with peer-to-peer lending platforms, which are regulated by the SEC. This is not the first time he's called for DeFi regulation. Earlier this month, Chairman said, in my view, the legislative priorities should center on crypto trading, lending platforms. Regulators would benefit from the additional plenary authority to write rules and attach guardrails to the crypto trading and lending. Now, he's also used the example example or analogy of fat-free in products that you see in the grocery store, but if you look on the label, they're not really fat-free as they actually advertise. And he's also used the analogy of green products, where people will use these terms to benefit their company and sales, but nevertheless, they're misleading about what they actually are and whether they are truly those things that are advertised. And that is the analogies that he is using to point to DeFi and about these fees and governance and token rewards and things of that nature to really showcase the idea that some of these developers are still heavily involved in this, and that from that particular angle, an SEC chairman like Gensler could see these things to be regulated as securities, or certain within the framework of securities. So we shall see. That is not over by a long shot. And apparently, neither is XRP price. Block Bulletin says the SEC versus Ripple case is gaining momentum as a possible reaction of XRP gains almost 75% in just 7 days. It says, let's find out what could be the cause. And I'm not going to run back through it all with you, because you and I know that since the case, XRP has come up in price, which really proves that it does not move with the fundamentals of Ripple, the company. Well, that's just number one, right? We know that there have been corridors that have been opened up in other areas of the world to help support the utility drive of XRP's use case. So I believe that there's a lot to be said for that. I also believe, which I certainly cannot probably prove here, but I believe that institutional buyers understand this as well. And I think they've been using this time to probably scoop up XRP, because they realize at some point, when all of this dawns on the rest of the world that XRP actually can do all of these things that it says it can do, and it actually has been doing them, you're going to see a mad dash to scoop it up. And then we'll have to ask ourselves, will retail investors be able to participate in buying it in the same fashion and manner that we have been to date? Because broadly, U.S. retailers are sidelined unless you're using Uphold. So grateful for them. Let's listen here. This is Coin Kids, and reminding us, and I just want to remind you, whether we hear it in this clip or not, that, you know, we are looking for some price action to go up here, right? But don't forget about the correlation of the dollar index against crypto itself. And that includes XRP, right? So when we're thinking of these things, let's think and understand that even though we may be talking about price going up at some point, we still need to pay attention to the correlation of the dollar index, known as the Dixie, and find out whether that is going to, because if the dollar Dixie goes down, if the dollar Dixie goes down, then we could be looking at crypto going up. But if the dollar Dixie and the dollar index gets stronger, crypto normally gets weaker. So we are at a point where we want to pay attention to that and how it will affect the market. But until we see what really breaks on that, let's listen to this.
Now XRP is picked up relatively nicely off that low down there. It was a previous swing high, which we have been targeting. We'll dive in a moment, but so far, you know, so good. The DXY is quite worrying, but a lot of people yesterday, they did say that the DXY is in a bearish pattern, which is good. You know, we want to see the bearish patterns on the DXY, because there is an inverse correlation between that, as I outlined in yesterday's video. So we will keep an eye on the DXY. It has broken out. You know, we do need to pay attention to it, because if it does go up and shoots off into space, then, you know, it is inversely correlated with crypto at the minute. Until we can find that inverse correlation broken, it is what it is, unfortunately. Okay, so we do need to pay attention to it moving forward, but hopefully it hits a level of resistance and continues in the downtrend. Okay, so we will keep an eye on that. But so far, you know, XRP is holding support relatively well, and it's looking for continuation. And just like I said to you, potentially you form some kind of little handle here. This is exactly what we're doing, you know, and you've got this lovely little cup and handle pattern that's just formed here for XRP. You come up, you're forming a beautiful little handle, come back to support. Like I said to you, you refer to the videos. At this one, everyone's going to shit themselves thinking you're entering a bear market. Okay, but right now you've come back up, and if you break this high here, you've got a technical target off this cup and handle. So I'm going to draw this in for you. You've met that resistance, haven't you? You know what, we were down here. I said you're going to come up and hit levels of resistance, and that's what you do. And as long as you fall back to support, you're looking at continuation. And so far, so good, isn't it? You know, you've come up at this resistance, fell back, carried on. You know, resistance, fell back, carried on. Resistance, fell back, carried on. You've not quite hit the daily 20, but you can see it's looking a lot more healthier now, this on the daily, because this was taking off and your EMAs were left behind. And that's what I say to you, we'll always roll back and hold them as support for continuation. So right now XRP is having a lovely little push up, and it's breaking this level of resistance of this handle. So you're coming up to test this high, because if you do break this high, I'll tell you what that high is right now. If you do start to see XRP come up and break this local high, you've got loads of little targets here. Okay, so you've effectively got this cup and handle target just there. So you break this high like that, you know, you're looking at a beautiful little pump here. You know, it's your technical target off this cup and handle. You could be looking at a new local high here of 219, okay, and that would actually tie up with our impulsive wave, which we are actually going through right now for XRP, where we've actually come down, we start to retrace back up to this local high, and you can see we've ran into the level of resistance here, which is this former resistance over there, and that's where we roll back to the 050 almost. We didn't quite come down to it, to be honest with you, but we are holding support, and we're back above the 0618 here. Now if we do come up and we break this level of resistance, you're in a technical target of $2.19 for XRP. $2.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. I had trouble with the audio button. But I don't know about you, but I don't have a problem with a $2.19 target for XRP, and I'm sure you don't either. But that doesn't mean that we won't see things move in cycles and roll up in price and roll back. I don't expect that to go directly there without having some pullback, just like we've seen in the rest of this chart. Look at this. Just like we've seen throughout this whole chart. So I would expect the same thing to happen, and he reminds us of that as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But let's take a look at this really quickly too, because this is Dark Defender, who's not calling for a $2 plus, but he's actually, and obviously he's saying it's within the range, but he's going for a much larger target to come after the $2 price point. And he's saying we should be paying attention for a $6.39 XRP in the near term over the next few months, because I believe the chart here actually shows that target somewhere in his stage around October, sometime after, right? So sometime in October, he's calling for a $6 plus XRP. So we got to hit $2 first before we get there. But that also doesn't mean that we won't roll over in price. And that's the thing we need to pay attention to. This can wick between $1.83. So, and just as Coins Kid had said, we got to pay attention to the dollar Dixie as well, because it does correlate to the crypto market space. That's going to do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. They are trusted, vetted links of products and services I use each and every day. I'll catch you on the next one.